Jeff Grubb.
Dan Ryckert.
Man, this is the year of games I had never heard of, and then they come out and become one of my favorite games of the year between Vampire Survivors and Neon White, and now Tinykin.
It's the way I want gaming to be. I want to be surprised all the time. I mean, if we don't have a ton of stuff to look forward to, I want these surprises to come out and actually hit.
Yeah.
And they have been. I just started this on the Steam Deck, and I've been having a pretty good time with it so far.
I played all night last night on the Steam Deck, and it was excellent on there. It runs real good on there. Okay, so let's go into this here. First of all, it's on everything. So it's on your PlayStations and your Switches and your Xboxes and your Steams and your Epics and everything. As you can tell, what I'm doing here is throwing these little fellas around, and the first game you would think of here is
Pikmin.
There we go.
I did not know, like I had heard of this game. It got mentioned a few times. Even hearing that it was, I think you even said, "Oh, it looks like Pikmin." I think I just chose to ignore you, and then I started the game and was like, "Oh, this is like Pikmin."
Yeah,
and I was like, "Okay, yeah, I get it now."
It's Pikmin, which I guess Pikmin was this too, but like the tiny character, big world thing, like a Chibi Robo,
Yes.
Toy Commander, Mr. Mosquito. You know, it's like one of my favorite. I won't call it a genre, but one of my favorite just concepts.
Yeah, concepts. Yeah, like it's a good concept page on giantbomb.com for sure.
Yeah, even like what was that Hyperscape game we played recently, where your toy
Hypercharged.
Hypercharged.
Yeah,
yes.
Wait, what are you doing here? What is this?
Okay.
What is all this?
Oh, dude, this was the moment I realized, okay, when it first started and I thought Pikmin, I was like, oh, I'm going to like this. It was the second they gave me the soap board. Do you not have the soap board?
I got the soap board. I'm playing it up for the crowd, man.
Oh, you're kayfabing. You kayfabing son of a bitch.
I'm kayfabing. I'm a kayfabing motherfucker here. Let's do this.
Yeah, that was the moment. As soon as it was like, hold an RB and you can skate on this soap board, I was like, all right, well, I am fucking in. If I wasn't already
it feels great. I'm like, this.
Oh.
I mean, listen, I love Pikmin. Pikmin has nothing that feels as immediately fantastic as skateboarding on this piece of soap.
Well, yeah, and just this world too. Like again, I love Pikmin, but it is very much just kind of like this top down. It's got a ton of charm, obviously. Wait, why can't I? Oh, I just put it together. I've been carrying around these bones, wondering what those were, but I just assembled part of a
I was
frog.
going to ask. I realized you were carrying around the pieces of this thing and putting it together. I think people might have been like, what is this dancing skeleton? It's like, no, those little guys were carrying the skeleton parts. They're very strong for tiny little guys. And that's, again, like Pikmin.
The pink guys can carry, the red ones blow up, and the green ones, have you seen the green ones yet, Grubb?
I've not seen the green ones, but go ahead and spoil it for me.
Okay,
I do not mind.
Check this shit out.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Make your own ladder. How about that shit?
Okay, so here's the thing with this game is what I'm like piecing together as I'm pretty early in this game. It is Pikmin, but it is also still a platforming game. Like it is like in a way that Pikmin was not super duper a platformer. It was just like time management and moving around the map and make sure that you understood like where things were and like accomplishing things in efficient manners. This is about taking your character and getting places and using these Pikmin-like Tinykin to do that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I feel like Pikmin didn't even have a jump button. You know, it was not a platformer at all. I mean, you're moving around these. You know, it's this is a platformer, which is why I think this is immediately grabbing me. As much as I love Pikmin, I am a platforming fan, and this is holy shit. It's platforming. It's Pikmin. It's tiny person, big world. It is every second of this is doing it for me so far, and everything it introduces, where it's like, oh, here's these green guys that do this, or even like the world. So it's like this house that was basically like abandoned in the early '90s, it seems, and it's been taken over by this whole like society of mantises and bugs and shield bugs and all this stuff, and you're kind of piecing things together like this frog. The first big world I went in, there was like a poster on the wall of a band, and the logo of the band they thought was like a religious symbol. All these bugs did. So like you find this CD of that band, and they think it's this like religious artifact, and they're all like having these like sermons and stuff tied to just the stuff they find around the room, which is just a real fun concept that so far they've really done a great job with. You know, it frames this world very well.
Can I ask, like, you know, we talk about the big world, little people thing. That's great. What do you feel about the overall look? It's
love it.
Got these cartoon characters in a 3D world. I think I'm way into it as well. This has become a more popular graphical style where you play as a 3D platformer, but your character is actually like a 2D sprite for the most part. And this is one of the better implementations of that I've seen so far.
Yeah, when I first heard of this and I Googled it, I wasn't sure if I was going to like it based on the screenshots. But in action here, it really does work, honestly. Like, there's no part of it that bugs me or anything. I actually think it's very well implemented. And these, like, as you collect this pollen you see me collecting, you see the bubbles. I currently have 3 bubbles, and it extends the amount of time you can kind of float. You start with the flow, but you can extend it. The grind, you don't actually have.
I just started getting the pollen parts where it's like, okay, I need to collect 1,000 pollen. I'm like, oh wow, that's a lot, but it's like you quickly realize, oh, it's everywhere, and they come in big bunches and stuff like that. So, yeah, platformer in that there's a lot of stuff to collect, and it's fun getting around the world to collect those things.
Yeah, you can see I need 900 of the pollen. You'll see as I pick them up that I need 900 in this level, and that's typically you'll give it to a bug, and he'll extend your bubble time basically.
So you're getting more of these Tinykin by going over these little like strawberry-looking things, right?
And they just kind of pop, and they're color-coded and everything. So that's how you get more of them. And you will need sometimes like to blow a thing up. It'll be like, okay, you need 6 of these blow-up ones basically. So it'll be gated a bit, but then eventually you'll have like at the end of each level you'll have an army following you around.
Is there any sort of like taking your Tinykin back to a base and growing more Tinykin like Pikmin, or is it you're going to just be finding them around the world?
You find them around the world. There is like kind of a central place where you kind of collect your, like you can see there's these artifacts and everything here. So I've got like 1 of those brewery things. I've got 4 of these museum artifacts. And there is kind of a centralized area where that's all put together. And like Pikmin, where you're putting together pieces of a ship to take off, here you are putting together this this contraption basically that it's supposed to take you away from the house. So that's the ultimate goal, is to like get away from the house basically. So I think each area you get 1 of those. I've got a couple of them right now. I would call this there's like 1 big world, but then there's also kind of these like kind of passages between the worlds and things like that. So I'd say I'm about 2.5 hours in or something like that. Well, shit, no, I played for a while last night. I'm probably over 3 hours in, I would say. Yeah, so not quite sure how long it is based on this type of stuff. There's I would guess there's probably 3, 4, 5 more big worlds, but I have not played enough to know yet. But
it seems very level based, like you were kind of describing there a little bit. But it was I guess so is Pikmin, but Pikmin, it felt like each world was like a big open space. Is that like what it feels like here, where those are about equivalent to the size, where it's like, or like maybe compare it to like a Mario Odyssey level? Is it about that big? Because this looks like maybe not quite as big as Mario Odyssey stage, but pretty close.
I mean, in terms of like square footage, maybe not as big, but in terms of just nooks and crannies and places to find these things and everything, like each one of these, if you want to really get everything, and I would suggest it because it is really fun, these could take you an hour plus certainly to finish each one.
Okay.
And you can, once you have beaten one, you can get back to the old ones as well, so it's not like you...
Okay. Because I was wondering, the first introductory stage was very small and quick, and I'm like, oh, is this going to be like a bunch of tiny little puzzle rooms? And I'll just be like, it's not that at all. Liz, from looking at this, like, okay, and I think I prefer this. I'm like, I was okay with the idea of tiny little puzzle rooms, but I'm much more excited about this prospect of like, no, this is just a big open space to explore. And what you saying that about nooks and crannies, I'm like, oh, this looks like it does have a million little things to discover, and I'm so into that, like just in general. And this looks like it's a really great implementation of that as well.
Yeah, and I do want to get everything. No part of me is like, oh, I just need to get the main stuff and then move on. Like, it is so fun and so open to just move around these worlds that I am taking my time and trying to get everything here. And you can see here, like, once you've collected a lot of it, it is so open that it can be hard to know exactly where to go next. And there is this thing here, so you can look through here and see when there are like artifacts and museum things that you need. Let's see if I need anything. No, sometimes like if you need a specific thing, it'll like really be called out on here. But I'm not seeing anything obvious right now, so we'll just keep exploring. I have not been at a loss at any point. I've just constantly been moving and rewarded for it, basically,
Yeah, it seems like you've been doing that nonstop since we started this quick look, and it's like, oh no, there's still like a ton more in front of you. If you just keep going forward, you're going to find more stuff, and that's perfect. That's exactly what I want.
Well, yeah, and the actual mobility is so fun. Like these jumps and the float and everything, and now using this ladder thing. It's all been great, so it's just a joy to move around these areas.
And you talked about it a little bit, where you're collecting the overall like blueprint thing to get out of the house, but it's like it seems like it's household items. Or the first thing I collected was a scuba mask. And I'm like,
that's one of the first ones, yes.
Yes, and it's like, okay, he's like, okay, look at this blueprint, we're gonna put this on stuff, and that also feels very Pikmin, but it also just feels kind of fun and a good idea for what they're doing with the setting, where it's like, oh, there's this crazy bug guy who has this idea, and he thinks he has an idea about getting you out of here, and you just gotta find a way to collect these things, and it gives you a reason to go from one room to the next. Now, I did notice that from the first stage to the second stage, they said my Tinykin would not come with me. Is that like the case for every level, where once you go from level 2 to level 3, you're gonna have to start over with new Tinykin? Is that kind of like about balancing out these stages, do you think?
Yeah, it seems like in the kind of middle areas that are kind of more hub areas that, you'll go back there and have a certain amount that you had before. But as you enter each one of these new bigger areas, I believe it started me fresh each time. Like, I came in here and it immediately gave me a bunch of the green ones to kind of teach me how these guys work,
Okay.
So you'll start with something, and that'll open up doors to a certain amount of stuff, but then as you get more things, you can just get more done. You were mentioning the theme and the contraption you're putting together. The thing that it reminded me of was like a Calvin and Hobbes type thing, where Calvin would just put together just a bunch of bullshit and call it his demogrifier or whatever the hell he called this thing. Transmogrifier.
It reminded me of Steve Baldwin from Half Baked, where he's the guy who can make a bong out of anything.
That's the guy on the couch. Yeah,
it's the guy. Exactly.
The Stephen Baldwin game. Yes. No, Steve. No, it's not Stephen Baldwin. God, that's gonna drive me nuts. Stephen Wright.
Stephen Wright's the guy on the couch, and Stephen Baldwin's the guy who can make a bong out of anything.
Oh, fuck, that's right. I thought Stephen Baldwin.
Multiple high Stevens in Half Baked.
Wow,
absolutely.
I forgot Stephen Baldwin was in there. Is he one of the Nutso Baldwin brothers?
I
guess they're all
at this
kind of
point,
nuts, right?
It might be all of them.
Yeah.
That might be all of them.
I think it might be, yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's see. So now we're at the point where it's like, I've explored for a little bit. I've seen the obvious stuff. Let's see what this guy wants here. Get the gate.
Oh, man, like, this is so, I don't know, it's so cool. I'm like this, like, these guys guarding this little gate here. This is very cool.
Well, yeah, and there's fun stuff where, again, tiny character, big world. Like, there was a huge guitar in the last area I was at, and then I fell into the hole of the guitar, and it was like a little nightclub, and there was like a little like bug band in there playing and stuff. It's just like they are really killing it with this this household theme,
Right. It feels like it would be very easy just to take the guitar asset from like an asset store, put it in there and be like, okay, we did it. We put a big guitar in this world where you're a little character. We're done. To then take it a step further I feel like that's what this game is consistently doing from what you've shown me so far and what I've played so far is they do go that extra step to make things feel even more alive. And that's great.
Yeah, like the charm is very apparent in every part of this game, I think, and even the writing has been clever and fun. Like I like talking to all these different characters.
And it doesn't stop the game a lot of times when you're talking to characters. The text just pops up as you walk past them. I love that. That's like, don't make me actually stop running to see what they have to say. Let me just sort of like glance at it as I'm running past, so I can kind of get like right there. That's perfect. This is the way to do it.
It does a nice thing that like if I see this and I know I've seen that, that's fine. I can walk by it. But if I want to button into it, I can see more.
Perfect.
So like it gives you the beginning of what they're saying.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. It's still that's like that. It's ideal because it's like for me a lot of times I'm probably not going to button in, but it's going to give me just enough context to know if I do need to know something, and it will go in there.
Yeah, and if something's like mission critical, they'll typically be like hopping up and down or something. It'll be fairly obvious. So now you see I've got 677 out of 900 of this pollen. I've got 1 out of 2 of these artifacts, and I'm also trying to find a key. So now this is kind of like where it gets interesting, where I've done my rounds. I've done the obvious stuff. By the way, this is like a mail thing here, so you'll find envelopes throughout the areas, and you collect the mail for the guy. But now I'm just trying to figure out, kind of scoping out where to go next. So there's, so like, look, there's all that shit up there. So I want to figure out how to get up. How would I go about that? Let's try to keep following this up and see.
Yeah, taking the tree looks like a good path.
Yeah, okay. Been there. Kind of cleared that place out. Oh, there's stuff in... Oh, that vivarium. Okay, so I know that is where the key is where that, like, cactus thing is guarded. So I need to figure out... Okay, that looks like that might be a thing in there. Okay. Let's see. Wait, I haven't gone yet. Let's use these guys.
Yeah, I was going to say, okay, perfect, yeah.
Float over there, call him back, like
go.
Pikmin. I mean, this is just straight up Pikmin here,
Yeah, and I definitely don't ever like hide that stuff when you're making a game. If you are,
motherfucker,
if you were taking inspiration from another game, just rip it off. Honestly, like we're at a point in gaming where like so much stuff has been ripped off from so many other people. It's like no one knows where the original idea came from anymore.
And wear it on your sleeve, you know, like it's fine.
Wear it on your sleeve. Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
We don't have to.
Yes, everyone's inspired by everyone else. Just go for it. And so having the whistle that brings everybody back. I think I even collected something early on, and it did like a whistle sound effect that sounded very much like Pikmin, and it felt like an homage. It felt like, hey, we were inspired by this, and we're going to pay a little bit of an homage to it instead of feeling like they're embarrassed that they, stole an idea. Go for it.
I have not heard any like interviews or anything based on this game, but I would have to imagine that if anyone has talked to them about this game, the word Pikmin has come up a bunch of times, and I bet they've been like, yeah, it's clearly we love Pikmin. Which, you know what? We could use more Pikmin-likes.
What'd you think of Pikmin 3 Deluxe? I think that was like the ideal version of that game. It's so good.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Pikmin's just an absolute joy, and it was one of the it's one of those Wii U games that sadly not enough people played because it was on the Wii U, and thank God it's got another life. And now we just need Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD, and we'll be good.
Yeah, we'll see.
Are those the last two we need?
People will say Xenoblade, not Chronicles X. Yes, but
no one thinks that. No one's actually played those games.
we need Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, and then we need Rusty's Real Deal Baseball.
Of course.
Yes, and then we're good.
Yes. By the way, I love the way it does these, like, you're unlocking these zipline things here. Yeah. You're unlocking, like, it's doing the Dark Souls thing where it's like, I'm dropping down a rope.
Exactly.
So now
I was going to say, so, like, yeah, now you have a shortcut. Okay, and it's one of my favorite things in video games is that Dark Souls shortcut, Metroidvania shortcut stuff, really.
Sure, yeah.
God, I love that.
Yeah.
It's when I think something like Jedi Fallen Order really did for me, where I'm like, oh, man, I've unlocked the shortcut, and now I can get around this world so much faster. This is fantastic.
Totally. All right. I love seeing, like, I didn't see any of this stuff up here for the first, half hour I was in this area, and now there's this whole, like, other part of the level here with tons of stuff in it. It's the discovery element of this, and the way it does not, like, there's not an objective marker, there is not a arrow, there's nothing like that, but it gives you enough guidance and tools to look around and explore at your own pace,
I mean, I know a quick look is working where I'm like, oh, I cannot wait to play this level. I'm like, I just keep thinking about that vivarium, though, the thing over in the corner where I'm like, I want to see how I'm going to get in there and explore it. It looks like there's fun little ramps and stuff. And I can ride my soap bar in there and go really fast. It'll be cool. It's just, in general, like, this is when a game is really working for me, when all that stuff is like, I can't wait to try this myself.
Yeah. And also, I can throw them by holding like this, or if you want to go nuts, you can tap as fast as you want. Build that ladder. Hell yeah.
Perfect.
There are a lot of slots for this, like, you see the bubble thing underneath my character? Like, that's a lot of bubbles.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know if you're going to be able to just float really fucking far by the end of this, but it kind of looks like it.
Can you kind of do your maximum float for us real quick? I want to see, like, how long it lasts.
Yeah, this will be a good example here. Let's fly over there to the left where there's some stuff I haven't gotten.
Yeah, totally.
So we're gonna do a long float here.
Okay. Let me see. Okay, it's evaporating. Middle one's evaporating, and the last one going right now. Perfect. Okay, yeah, fantastic. So, I mean, to me, that says there's going to be some extreme platforming later on in this game, and that's...
Oh, I could see it. Totally.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. Look at this thing. It's like one room, but they make it seem like this giant fucking area,
Yes. I mean, this is where 3D platformers are mostly going to be, right? Like, we keep talking about, okay, when is Nintendo going to do Mario Odyssey 2 or whatever? And it feels like, that could come next year. It could not come for another 5 years. Indie developers really should be kind of filling in those gaps, and it feels like this is definitely one of the best examples of that in a while.
Yeah, and I was really excited because, for the longest time, like with indie games, there's a lot of 8 and 16-bit callback pixel games and stuff like that. I got pretty excited when Yooka-Laylee got crowdfunded because that made me think, like, oh, wait, are we at the era now where, like, nostalgia has taken us to, like, 64 and GameCube, like, platformers? Because I'm into the idea of, like, a bunch of new 3D platformers. And I think we are there now. Like, I didn't love Yooka-Laylee, but I think it did signal kind of the beginning of that, like, hey, let's make shit that's like good 3D platformers. And I think we've seen a lot of those since then. Even like, I remember, was it Grow Home and Grow Up? Remember those? That I think it was Ubisoft. That was a fun 3D platformer. I think in the last like 5+ years.
Very GameCube-ish, and absolutely, in terms of its style. There's one that is pretty similar to this in that it has a 2D character in a 3D world, and it's got sort of Mario 64 control inputs and stuff. Devil's not Devil's Crush, but something like that. Devil's Plat. I'm gonna look it up right now, but it's definitely one of those things. I'm like, oh yeah, this is inspired by N64 platformers, and this one definitely feels more like GameCube. But yeah, you're right. That I am ready for indie developers to feel confident about taking that on. Yeah. So yeah, it's very, very cool.
Keep giving me these. I will keep playing them and loving them.
Yes,
and playing them
absolutely.
On the internet. Let's do another couple things here. I won't ruin how to actually get in the Vivarium for those who might be interested in playing it.
Yeah, I think that's perfect because that's like enticing. Like I'm like, yeah, it's like you showed it, and now I'm like, I'll figure out how to do that. That's great. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff to do over here anyhow.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna like
praying mantis.
Yeah, I will definitely play this game to the end. Like this is just super doing it for me. You need 3 to cross the obstacles. I got that. I can go get that ring pop. Not a problem.
Yeah.
So you want me to go over here? Is that right?
And it's cool. They're just like, nah, it's a straight up obstacle course now. Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay, so I can do 3. Okay, so you want me to go over? Am I looking right? Am I supposed to go? Oh, Jesus, guys. Am I supposed to go over here?
Hello, friend.
Settle down, guys.
Tinykin.
Jesus Christ. All right.
Will you be our friend?
I think that's where I need to go. I don't really see any other obvious place. Let's give it a shot.
I'd say go for it. I think you could do it. Oh, yeah. We're going to make it. No, this is it. You got it.
Yeah.
All right, Dan. 3. So here's the real question.
Yes.
Is this better or worse than Super Mario Sunshine?
Oh, let's not do that. It's far too early, and there are many facts. Look, I can't give this a masterpiece designation
you're just
already.
Afraid to say it. You're just afraid to say it.
I will say I thought of Mario Sunshine. Oh, I mean, I usually think of Mario Sunshine, but specifically this game made me think of it when I was hovering because I'm a huge sucker for platformers that have hovering mechanics.
Yeah.
And part of the reason I love Sunshine so much. And so yes, this has made me think of that. I refuse to answer your question or acknowledge it further.
Understood. As soon as they did this like little platforming obstacle thing, I was like, yeah, this is reminding me of Sunshine here. Like the hover things. I'm like, yeah, this is cool.
Let me get the ring back to that guy. Maybe we'll call this a quick look. Where did I go to get
was he around that corner?
Yeah.
Did you? I think you had to flow back around that corner.
Okay, let's try to get this. Yeah, and here's the thing too. Like, Pikmin obviously they would get caught on stuff and I'd be like, oh man, I gotta get the AI to like move around this thing or avoid this thing. That has not been an issue whatsoever here. You just do this and they are gonna make their way back to you.
Right, they are just gonna zoom through. I mean, that's what part of the benefit of them being these little cartoon characters instead of actual 3D models is they're clearly just gonna zap through the environment, no issue. And you're not looking at them anyhow. You're looking at all the fun stuff in the level, so you're not expecting them to behave in a realistic way. It's the right way. It's the right solution for this problem.
Yeah. I don't have to like constantly be looking back, wondering where my dudes are.
I want to say I think you missed a shortcut back there that would have made this whole thing easier, but this is still fun.
Mr. Backseat Driver here. My God, look at this shit. All right. Oh, okay. Yep, up there. Deliver it. See what this guy's got for me. Yeah, these green guys are really cool, and like that's something that was not in Pikmin at all. It's not just like using the Pikmin types. I'm very curious to see what further ones do. All right, how about we put that ring in there? What do you think of that, buddy?
Yeah.
All right, Hungry Knight. Here's my reward. Oh, if you come across a mask-wearing companion, talk to them. I think I need that for something.
Now you can stab people.
Hell yeah!
Very gory and violent.
Let's get violent here. Grubb, I am not near done playing this game, but I am done with this quick look because if you are interested, I think you probably know by now if you're watching this whether this is for you or not.
Yes.
And I don't want to spoil everything for you. So that is Tinykin. It is on everything right now, and I cannot recommend it highly enough based on what I've played. Grubb, it sounds like you'll be playing more of it.
Yes, I will. I'm going to talk about it on the Bombcast today, so looking forward to that.
Hell yeah. All right, well, thanks for joining me, Grubb.
Thanks, Dan.
Bye-bye.